Welcome to a very special 5 on 5. We're talking about the Lake Sacramento Flood of 1862 with Dr. Claude Curran, a retired SOU professor, and a man many of you probably recognize, meteorologist and Medford broadcasting legend, Leon Hunsaker. Gentlemen, thanks so much for being here today.
You're welcome. Thank you. Good to be here.
My pleasure, yeah. And so Leon, let me start with you. You have big news. Tell us about this.
Well, they hold a symposium every year at they call it the California's Extreme Precipitation Symposium. They hold it at the University of California at Davis. And at their session in June of 2012, they were revising the peak flow that occurred during the biggest peak flow that we know of, at least, in California during the 1862 flood. And we disagree with the way they went about it. It's as simple as that.
Okay, and why do you disagree?
We disagree because they came in with survey instruments. There was a group called the Swamp Commissioners, and they made an estimate of what the peak flow was during that flood.
That was way back at near the time of the flood, right after the flood.
Okay.
And anyway, they made an estimate, and it was 509,000 cubic feet per second was the flow that they estimated. When the people, the officials at the symposium, they were downgrading it. And we just flat disagree with the way they went about it. They went in with their survey instruments, and when you measure, first thing you have to do is figure the shape of the river, to get the volume. And the other thing is how fast was the water moving through there. And they based their estimate on the speed of the water on, and as far as we're concerned, on a slant of the bottom of the river. The steeper the slant of the river, the faster the water. Well, and that was the size of it. But then what happened downstream a little bit in the city of Sacramento at 7th and P Street on the morning of January 10th, the water was going up at about a foot or 2 feet or a foot and a half every hour, and that trend just continued. And then all of a sudden, early in the afternoon, it jumped to a foot an hour, 2 straight hours. And the question is, why? Rain on snow does funny things. The snow, new snow especially, it'll absorb the rain. And then finally, as it builds up, of course, the snowpack level is going to be dropping like this. But then it finally gets down to a point where there's maybe, let's just suppose, 6 or 8 inches of just slush left. All of a sudden, it liquefies and runs off. And that's what causes the surge down the river. And the thing that made this run extra fast is the watershed was frozen, the ground. And so that made it so that the water was traveling even faster.
So what happened was back then, the swamp commissioners estimated 510,000 cubic feet per second. The public agencies were using about 260,000, which is a great difference. And then they upped that as we did our research. We were independent. We didn't know about the Swamp Commission until after we'd finished our research, and we had estimated a little bit under 500,000 cubic feet per second. It turns out that our estimate was very much like what the Swamp Commission had found in the early days in the 1860s. The public agencies still are not accepting that, but they are moving the level up.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, it's
So
interesting how it's all coming
They
together.
moved it up to 320,000 feet, way below what the swamp commissioners estimated.
Interesting. Okay. Well, thank you both so much for joining us. It's fascinating to hear about. I grew up in California, and I don't even remember hearing about this massive flood. So
do.
clearly, California is trying to downplay the whole thing.
There'll be another one. We
I'm
predict
sure I'm
it.
just forgetting that. All right. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Good.